The title of this message is Faith Without Hope is Weird. I've shared some of this before, but I want to go into deeper detail. I remember ministering with my wife, Wendy, and she's Holy Spirit woman. I never know what she's going to say. And we were talking about faith and hope, and she just said, faith without hope is weird. And we unpacked that later and basically came to the conclusion of this: faith without hope is unhealthy. Faith without hope is unhealthy. Let me try to explain the difference between faith and hope. Faith is very specific. Hope is more general. Faith says, God's going to do this. Hope says, I don't know what God's going to do, but good things are coming. Faith people without hope are waiting for something to happen to really live. Faith people with hope are living while they're waiting. Let me say that again. Faith people with hope are living while they're waiting. And it's interesting how we just subconsciously delay really living until certain things have happened, till certain situations are resolved, certain uncertainties are answered. Financial breakthrough, getting into the promises of God, our prophetic destiny. Faith people without hope tend to put all their eggs in one or two baskets and just believe these things have to happen or it's all over. Faith people without hope tend to have a very difficult time overcoming disappointment because of a limited view that they can only live if certain things happen or certain outcomes happen or certain people are in their life or certain, whatever. And so I love talking about this. Hope is the belief that the future will be better than the present, and we have the power to help make it so. Hope is an overall optimistic attitude about the future based on the goodness and promises of God. This is a second definition of hope I'm sharing, and I really like it because hope is an overall optimistic attitude about the future based on the goodness and promises of God. The psalmist said in Psalm 27, I would have lost heart unless I believed I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Hope is the safety net for when what we believe for in faith does not happen. And we've all lost some battles. And I'm not saying we don't believe for anything. I believe we're supposed to believe specifically for certain things, but we all have believed for certain things and they haven't happened yet, or they didn't happen at all. And so hope is the safety net where we believe, hey, we still have a purpose. God has good things. I'm not going to lose heart because I believe I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You know, if I appreciate the GPS system that we have and how, I've got a faith GPS system that also has a lot of hope. Can you imagine if your GPS was only a faith GPS without hope? Well, here's what it would say if you took a wrong turn or the road was blocked. Your GPS would say, this trip is over. Pull the car over. Turn the engine off. Exit the vehicle. I can't get you to where you need to be from here. No, my GPS just says rerouting, recalculating. It doesn't get stressed at all. That's how hope Hope is like a GPS. It says, I can still get you there. I can still get you to where you need to be. Faith people without hope believe they have limited options in life, that certain things have to happen. They have to meet the exact right person. They have to, be just absolutely perfect in the execution of their life, or they're not going to get there. But faith people with hope believe they have a lot of options. Why don't you just say right now, I have a lot of options. Say it with me. I have a lot of options. Let's say it again. I have a lot of options. Let's say it louder. I have a lot of options. And by the way, those who believe they have a lot of options have a lot of options. Those who believe they don't have a lot of options don't have a lot of options. That's how it works. That's why I love teaching on hope, because hope people, as we embrace the message of hope, it increases the options of our life, because we realize we can thrive no matter what happens. We realize that we're adaptable. Faith people with hope are very adaptable. They're like the Apostle Paul. He says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. And right before that, he said, whether I'm abounding or abased, I've learned to be content. By the way, if you're not content now, you're learning to be content. Paul learned. He wasn't zapped with contentment. He learned. But he says, whether I'm abounding or abased, I've learned to be content. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He says, basically, I will thrive no matter what happens. I'll thrive as a millionaire. I'll thrive in jail. I'll thrive with government I like. I'll thrive with government I don't like. I'll thrive when that family member is doing what I think they should be doing. I'll thrive when they don't. Now, it may take a while to get that inward thriving, but the belief that we can thrive and the belief that we do have options and that there are solutions will open our eyes to the solutions and to the options. Again, if we just believe a certain thing has to happen for us to live, then that's going to work against us. Faith without hope is weird. Faith without hope is unhealthy. And certainly, faith comes from hope. Hebrews 11:1, faith is the substance of things hoped for. So faith precedes hope, because hope precedes faith. But it also makes our faith healthy. I've been sharing a lot about delighting in the Lord. Psalm 37 verse 4 says, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. Hope people are delighters. Faith people without hope are not delighters, and faith people without hope tend to carry around a spirit of heaviness on their life that they're walking in, because again, they don't believe they can live unless certain things happen. And so they're heavy until it happens. Faith people without hope devalue celebrative, joy-filled, partying worship, because they don't want to really live yet. And so it's going to be, and I love inner court things. I love going deep in worship, but I also love to celebrate. If I only want to go deep in worship or just deep in processing, then I'm probably missing the hope piece within my life. Wow, I could say so much more, but this has been a good one. And hey, I'm not even done yet. I want to, I thought I was done, but I want to go back to the delighting. Why don't you just delight as you're listening to Steve try to put all his thoughts together? As I become too happy with this message. Psalm 37, verse 4, let me say it again. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And I say this pretty much every week on my podcasts. When I'm talking about how to stir up the joy of the Lord in our life, which is our strength, and a merry heart is good like medicine, how to increase joy, delighting is one of them, because the delighter is delighting with unfulfilled desires. The delighter is delighting with unfulfilled desires. There's outcomes that he or she wants to see happen, promises realized, prayers answered that haven't been answered yet. They're called desires. If something is fulfilled in our life, it's no longer a desire. And so the delighter is delighting with unfulfilled desires. and I love it because the delighter's mantra is this: woohoo, Lord, I can't wait to see what you're going to do in this area of my life. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And I've been doing that. I've been experimenting with family situations, other situations lately. Been doing a 6-month heavy-duty experiment on delighting in the Lord, where I've tended in the past to have a spirit of heaviness on me as I thought about him. And the amazing thing is that I've seen more breakthrough in certain situations that I've been delighting in that I'd seen for years before. And so faith people with hope are delighters in the Lord. Delighting in the Lord is the opposite of the spirit of heaviness. All right, now I do think I have finished this message. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if you like these podcasts, why don't you tell somebody else about them? We are doing our Igniting Marriages retreat. If you're listening to this immediately upon the release of the podcast, we're doing this on this coming weekend in the middle of May, and it's going to be so good. And then starting in January, Wendy is doing the Academy of the Unseen Realm. She just did a master class. Over 1,200 people signed up for the master class. There's such a hunger on that. It was a master class on mystics master class. And I love what Wendy shares on that, brings a great biblical perspective to it, but also really stirs hunger to go after the more, of the Lord. And so that's her Academy of the Unseen is going to be happening in January, 5 months. It's powerful, intense time. It's online. And it's made for people on the go. So check it out. That will be released soon on our ignitinghopeacademy.com platform, ignitinghopeacademy.com. And then our wonderful Connie Jones is just starting Reigning in Life. Excuse me. Reigning in Life. And that's starting here in November. Connie's, it's a 5-week online course. So powerful. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this. We are here to ignite your hope. There's no hopeless circumstances, just people who do not have hope. And increasing hope is the evidence. We're renewing our mind with truth instead of lies, while decreasing hope in our life is the evidence. We're renewing our mind with lies instead of truth. And remember, too, that the joy of the Lord is your strength. We've already touched on that today. We don't need strength at the end of the battle. We need strength in the middle of the battle. For pretty much everybody listening today, most people think today's just not a good day to walk in radical joy. I've never found a convenient season to really walk in radical joy. Even when I got blessed, I would tend to want to focus on another area where I want blessing or want breakthrough. And joy is one of the keys to bring breakthrough. All right, God bless you so much. I'm headed to Australia. Looking forward to being in Australia this weekend in November. Wendy and I will be in Phoenix, Arizona in December, first weekend of December. Then I'm going to be in the Bay Area of San Francisco Bay Area, the second weekend of December. Caldwell, Idaho, near Boise, first weekend of January. Fife, Washington, last weekend in January. Go to ignitinghope.com. You can find our itinerary there. And also you can go there to sign up for our newsletter. And we would love for you to be a part of that. We send out a Monday blog, and then on Thursday, usually on Thursday, we send out info on things that we're doing, courses we have, resources, etc. We'd love to have you as a part of the Igniting Hope family. All right, God bless you. Thanks so much for listening to this message. Faith without hope is weird.